I don't think if it's right for a president to sell the airport or any property that is a public asset, I wouldn't advise Ruto to sell the airport or rather things that belong to the country that's no right.
President William Ruto's decision to cancel the deeply unpopular multi-billion shillings airport power transmission deals with troubled Indian Adani Group took many by surprise, but it had been long in coming, sources say. A fine ruling allied faced with months of spirited public opposition fought to defend the controversial agreement till the last minute, but enormous pressure by authorities in the United States of America after decisive action to indict Adani companies' top executives over massive bribery forced the president's hand.
Accordingly, I now direct, in furtherance of the principles enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, and based on new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations, that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for the JKIA expansion public-private partnership.
A co-influence of factors including doubts about Adani's financial injection of only 30% of overall funding required to refurbish, pressure from foreign partners over Jomo Kenyatta International Airport security consideration, and an increasingly hostile public with dire political ramifications forced their rethink. Sources confirmed that Kenya was facing intense pressure from development partners over the leasing out of JKIA, the official gateway to the region, to an Indian firm facing integrity concerns, especially in a wake of geopolitical upheaval including the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Palestinians war.
Yeah, I will start with asking the CS. Do you know somebody called Jayesh Saini?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. How do you know him?
I think he's in the health industry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong if I said that Mr. Jayesh Saini is the one who has actually been given the transaction of managing our SHIF, which is the new development out of NHIF? CS, would I be wrong to say that Mr. Saini is the agent of Adani in Kenya? The answer is yes or no. It's up to you.
I'm not aware.
You're not aware. Are you also aware that meetings that took place in Dubai where this deal was being discussed, Mr. Jayesh Saini was sitting in that meeting with individuals from the Kenyan government, and I will state here that the person who met Mr. Jayesh Saini in Dubai was Honorable Murkomen when he was the minister in the position you are in.
I am not aware.
They can send their Sheikh aircraft to bring their goods.
I will be able to communicate with you, yes.
Communicate, I mean, say to me yes or not. Exactly the date.
On Monday afternoon. I've just said that, my brother. Monday afternoon, let's speak around 4 your time, which is 3 our time. I'll be able to tell you.
To tell me what?
The communication I'll receive from the gentleman out of tomorrow's meeting.
But what still they has to talk? He's your partner. He took the money from you. He took the money. You took the money. What are you talking about?
The issue of we'll have to sit down and discuss this issue of money, because the amount of money that I've seen is not the amount of money.
It's not our problem. It's not our problem. There is a guy and the conversation that you took it and he took it. We know all this document. We cannot say who is.
Let's solve this matter. You know, shouting doesn't help. I've told you.
No, after 5 months, the patient will over. It's over.
President Ruto too has been under a lot of pressure from Kenyans, the opposition, and the clergy, who described the privately initiated partnership with Adani as auctioning off major national assets to a foreign entity. Billionaire Gatam Adani, alongside 6 company executives, are charged in New York for allegedly masterminding a bribery and fraud scheme to secure solar power contracts worth 260 billion Kenya shillings. $2 billion in future profits. This offered the president an opportunity to reverse the controversial deals and win back some support at home. The U.S. Department of Justice alleged that Adani and his associates paid over 32 billion Kenya shillings, 250 million US dollars in bribes to Indian officials while misleading banks and investors in the United States. The U.S. Department of Justice claimed that Adani personally engaged with Indian officials to execute the fraudulent deals, supported by evidence from documents and phone records. Adani has denied all charges, dismissing them as baseless. Ruto's calculation, therefore, is that the cancellation, while projecting him as a listening president, would offer him a chance to win plaudits from Kenyans while placating foreign partners. Insiders say that after Adani's incitement in the United States and the fall of the group's shares in global markets, the Kenyan government was unsure if the Indian conglomerate still had the 30% counterparts funds and whether to raise the balance from international finances to finance the projects. Also considered by the Kenya government were fears of losing critical infrastructure in the event of default after being used as collateral by Adani to raise funds from international lenders. Concerns grew over what would happen to the collateral if Adani, facing mounting fraud allegations, went bankrupt.
And I want to say, after this impeachment, I want the members of parliament now to focus on the corruption scandals around our country. The Adani scandal, the issues in public health sector, the glaring theft of public resources. That is what parliament should consider and take time. And that is what the people of Kenya want.
Investigations established that the government had not yet signed the airport leasing deal and therefore will unlikely attract any compensation, according to earlier heads and terms document to the Kenyan authorities by Adani. Any termination of the contract would have forced the government to pay any developments as well as losses incurred by Adani at the time of termination, and failure to do so would have dragged Kenya to arbitration courts outside the country. Before the American move on Adani's, his entry into Kenya had received bipartisan support with backing from the government and the opposition. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga had defended the Indian firm, citing its involvement in multiple infrastructure projects across Asia, Europe, and Africa. The cancellations have reignited political debates. Lawyer Abdinasir Abdullahi described the decisions as an act of God, attributing the turnaround to external pressure and evidence of corruption. Adani Group had secured 240 billion Kenya shillings deal to manage JKIA for 30 years. This included second runway and terminal upgrades. Another 85 billion Kenya shillings project with Tetraco was to build and operate power transmissions lines for 30 years. Both deals drew criticism over corruption fears and potential job losses and the involvement of scandal-plagued firm. Energy Minister P.O. Ndai initially defended the project, ensuring the parliament that there was no evidence of misconduct in the procurement of the power line deal. President Ruto, in his State of the Nation address, confirmed that the cancellation was based on a new information provided by the investigative agencies and partners nations. Government sources revealed that the intelligence reports from the countries where Adani operates include the US, Australia, and Malaysia played a key role in the decision. Kenyan authorities consulted these nations to assess Adani's track records, reinforcing the rationale for terminating the deal. In the wake of the developments in the US, Adani Greens cancelled 78 billion Kenya shillings, 600 million US dollars bond sale, and US financial regulators also charged the company for using deceptive practices to obtain funding. Defending the group's spokesperson San denied any wrongdoing.